Hello and welcome to lauriceskitchen. My birthday was a couple weeks ago, and for dessert, I made a chocolate version of our ambrosia pie. For that particular pie, I used a chocolate graham cracker crust, and I just felt it wasn't chocolatey enough. So for this one, we're making an Oreo crust. So let's see what we're gonna need. The ingredients for our chocolate ambrosia pie are identical to our regular ambrosia pie with the addition of 4 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate. We'll also be using Oreos in lieu of the graham crackers, so we'll be using 26 Oreos along with 4 tablespoons of butter. As always, the ingredients are listed here, as well as the full recipe and instructions in the description box below. We start this recipe by softening 1 packet of gelatin in our 1/4 cup of cold milk, and we can heat up our 1 cup of milk at the same time. While we're doing that, we can separate our eggs. While the milk is heating up in the microwave, we're going to soften our gelatin on top of this 1/4 cup of cold milk. You always have to soften dried gelatin. You can't mix it directly in with your hot liquids. We can also make a mocha version of this dessert by dissolving 2 teaspoons of instant espresso powder in the hot milk before we pour it into the gelatin mixture. You can clearly see that our gelatin has softened, so I'm going to whisk it first and then add in the hot milk. After I add in the hot milk, I'll be adding in these 4 ounces of chocolate. I did break it up, and we're just going to let it sit in there and completely melt. Okay, so let me whisk this first. All right, then we'll add in our chocolate. Okay, I'm going to let that sit for just a little bit. While we're waiting for this chocolate to melt, we can take care of the rest of this custard. I have my 2/3 of a cup of sugar, and I'm putting in my 3 egg yolks. I'm going to add our salt and vanilla to this. And then this is getting whisked until it's lemony. You could use a hand mixer if you wanted, but I prefer the whisk. Okay. The rest of the sugar will dissolve once we add in all the milk. All right, let's just give the, oh yeah, this is pretty much all melted. So we're gonna stir this all in. That was only about 3 or maybe 4 minutes. It melts very quickly. And once this gets all whisked in, it's going into the bowl with the egg yolks and sugar. And we'll whisk this in. It smells like hot chocolate in here. And finished, this pretty much tastes like a decadent chocolate pudding. Once I can feel all of the sugar dissolved, and you can also hear it, this is going to go in the refrigerator for 45 minutes to partially set up. Now don't forget about it, because if it completely sets up, I think it's going to be very difficult to whip in that egg, or whip in the whipped cream. This is my 8x8 square pan, and I am going to put a parchment paper sling in here, but the way to make it stick best is to spray it with just a little bit of nonstick cooking spray. Now we're not going to go up onto the sides that are bare, because this really is just to hold the paper in place. Like with our graham cracker crust, we're going to put all but about a quarter cup, maybe a half a cup of crumbs in here because we want some left over for our topping. Okay, so that much. Then I'm just going to press this flat. All right, and then this can just sit and wait on the countertop until that filling is ready to go. This ended up being in the refrigerator for about an hour. It was probably a little bit warmer when I put it in there. So you can see the consistency is like loose pudding. Now I'm going to put this back in the refrigerator while I whip up the whipped cream. Okay, you can probably see I had my bowl and my beaters in the freezer. You always want to whip whipped cream very cold. Now my bowl is marked, so I'm just going to fill this up to 1 cup. And then we're going to whip this until it stiff peaks. And no, I'm not adding any sugar or anything to this. All right, we don't want to dry this out. I am just going to mix this in because it does have a bit of a foamy top, so I don't want any of that to be seen or by itself. So we'll just rehomogenize this. Okay, and then I'm just going to gently whisk this in, so about half at a time. And I'm going to switch over to a spatula to get the rest of this out because I'll be using a spatula to put this into the pan. Okay, and this is going in that crust. Okay, we're just going to pour this in. Just going to smooth this just a little bit, although it looks like it's pretty well in there. All right, and then the rest of these crumbs are going on top. Then this is going in the refrigerator overnight. The original recipe said 4 hours, but I have never gotten it to set up in just 4 hours. So plan ahead. This has been in the refrigerator overnight. So let's take a look at it. Oh, it looks perfect. Okay, now I'm going to cut it into 9 pieces and then we'll get it out of this pan. I am using a very thin blade, but it is sturdy to cut through this. Just be careful not to wreck your pan. All right, now we're going to see about getting this out of here. And I am going to just run this knife along the sides here just to try to make sure I've got everything loose. All right, and if this fails, you get to see it here. And this came out very clean, just a little bit on the sides. It's time to give our pie a taste, and the rest of my family is standing off in the wings salivating. Oh my goodness. It's so soft. It's just like a high-end chocolate pudding cake. So good. Thank you for visiting Laurice's Kitchen. If you enjoyed this video, give the like button a click and don't forget to leave a comment. We're always happy to hear from you. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and don't keep us a secret. Share our videos with your friends and family. You can follow us on Facebook for behind-the-scenes pics and videos, and on Twitter for upcoming videos and the random cat picture.